Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Q&Play, my monthly Q&A series where I answer your questions in a rambly, unscripted format. First question comes from Dark Sage. Question for a new D&D player, what kind of module would be good for a first time game? Also, are metal dice better than normal ones? It depends on what you want out of Dungeons & Dragons. Now, Lost Mines of Phandelver for 5th edition was created for the explicit purpose of playing with new players. That's what it's for. So I think that is the best one. There are a couple other great ones. I personally think that Candlekeep Mysteries can offer a lot for new players. I think that it is a very intriguing book with a lot of cool, varied adventures in there. Goes to Saltmarsh, also really good for new players, I think. It is a great book with a lot of really cool ocean-based adventures, and it's for low levels, and it's pretty simple to run as a DM, and it's not too complicated for new players. I did run Curse of Strahd for new players, though it was a little bit challenging as a brand new DM to run Curse of Strahd, though that is agreed to be probably the best overall 5th edition module. Not necessarily best for new players or new DMs. I think it's pretty good for new players. As a new DM, again, I found it a little overwhelming at times, but I do think that Curse of Strahd is just the best module for 5th edition. Most people think that, because Curse of Strahd is awesome. But overall, I think that Lost Mines of Phandelver, Goes to Saltmarsh, and to a lesser extent, in my opinion, Candlekeep Mysteries are great new adventures for new players. As for the metal dice thing, no, I don't think metal dice are better than normal dice. Metal dice are really nice. I have a set of metal dice. I will say that I made a grave error in that I rolled them on a wood table without a tray, and yeah, I tripped the wood, because those things are no joke. Metal dice can really damage your furniture if you don't have a tray or anything. They're really pretty. I don't find them necessarily prettier than other types of dice. The ones I have are just really well designed, and that's why I like using them. But yeah. Next question. Question from Wolfhero Johnson. What class/race have you always wanted to play but never had the chance? Okay, for starters, for race, I've always wanted to play a Mind Flayer. I've always wanted to play a Mind Flayer, and you guys could have given me the chance to play a Mind Flayer, but no, you voted for Goblin. I'm not mad. I love Crumble. He's my Goblin Gunslinger character that I made for the Dice Goblins one-shot, which you can check out on the Dice Goblins channel, but I had the other option of creating a Mind Flayer Butler, and I've always wanted to play a Mind Flayer. Mind Flayers are just awesome. I love them. I love them as just a concept, and I think they can make a cool player character if you play them correctly. Conversely, there are a lot of things that I could do incorrectly and I could mess up. I think the voice I made for a Mind Flayer character is cool, though it could get grating, and frankly, Mind Flayers really don't fit into your day-to-day D&D society. Like, how do you take a Mind Flayer into a town to start shopping? So that can get kind of annoying. Also, Mind Flayers are typically considered to be just very evil creatures, and I know goblins and kobolds are too, but Mind Flayers, they're Lovecraftian creatures that literally use other sentient beings as food. In fact, they need to use other sentient beings as food. So yeah, it could be difficult, but I think it would be worth it. The class I've always wanted to play, I don't know. I've played a lot of great ones. I've always wanted to take a rogue to max level. I love rogues. Always have. I've loved them since World of Warcraft. And yeah, I've never been able to play a rogue extensively, though I would love to at some point, I guess. Question from Chris Checkers Lara. Here's my question. Was there a time when you felt really bad about a character's death or upset about? I've never been upset about a player character death, mostly because, number one, I've never grown attached enough to a player character that I've played to be upset, and two, I've never had that many character deaths. Alright, so in terms of party members that I've DM'd for that died and I've felt sad, because that does happen. I mean, the DM ideally should care about the party too, and you should feel some palpable sadness if a player character dies. I mean, it's a big part of why I play the game, because I feel that same tension that they do. Now, of course, that's not going to stop me from killing a player character, because there need to be consequences, but at the same time, that doesn't stop me from feeling some kind of sympathy. And yeah, there were some pretty rough player character deaths in my campaign. In particular, I felt really bad when one of the player characters, Yue, died during the final battle of our campaign. She was our druid, and it was the final battle, and man, it was intense. It was against Orcus, and he power word killed her. I changed up his ability lineup so that he doesn't have as many power word kills, but one of the only ones he had, he bopped against her, and yeah, instantly whammied her out, and it was a pretty intense moment because the player characters, a lot of them were at really low hit points, and I do a sort of resurrection ritual that requires multiple people to roll checks, and if multiple people aren't available, like 3 people, then you can't bring someone back. So it was an intense moment, and it was during the final fight, so emotions were already high, and we had just had a very emotional bit of roleplay, so yeah, it was intense. She did get resurrected in the end, but man, that was probably like one of the tensest moments I've ever had in a D&D campaign. Now, actually, fun fact, every single one of the player characters, save for the cleric, has died in combat. Yorvarax, the dragonborn fighter/warlock, died in a battle with the Herald of Orcus. He got disintegrated, and he was brought back through his patron, and also a lengthy quest. Daphne, our blood hunter, she was killed by an alternate reality version of our cleric, which was an interesting fight. Long story, but yeah, that's how she died. Bob Dylan, the bard, of course, he died during an assassination attempt on the entire party, as well as some notable NPCs, and yeah, a dragon took him out, and he bled out onto the ground. That was really rough, but yeah. The party cleric never died, and she managed to resurrect everyone else. I believe the player had some serious PTSD because those were really tense moments, every single resurrection ritual, because pretty much the whole group needed to participate and roll well, so yeah, every bad roll, I could just see the mood of the room just die down just that bit more, so yeah. Every PC death in my campaign, every time a party member falls, I mean, I feel that. It really does rack me a little bit. It makes me feel a little bad, but sometimes it has to be done, and it creates all that tension. So yeah, we'll see how that goes in my second campaign, where we have no cleric to resurrect anyone, so that'll be interesting. Question from Wes C-W. What website would one use to play D&D online, but doesn't like talking to strangers on the internet? I'm assuming you have a group, and if you do, well, you're in luck. You don't need to talk to strangers on the internet if you have a group that you want to play with already. If you don't want to talk to strangers on the internet, and you want to play D&D, well, I don't know what to tell you. That sucks, because unfortunately, in order to play the game, you need a group, and if you don't have a group already, then you're probably going to need to talk to strangers on the internet. Now, with that out of the way, I do recommend Foundry. Roll20 is also great, though if you don't want to talk to strangers on the internet, unfortunately, both of those platforms do have areas where you can. Foundry, though, they don't really have an official LFG as far as I know, though Roll20 is a very popular one. So, yeah, do with that information what you will. Final question from Xion Kuriyama. Favorite story of silly things your party did? I do have some silly things my party did from my second campaign, which only happened a month ago or so. So essentially, I had this whole quest lined up for them. It was basically the opening quest for this seafaring campaign so that they can kill a giant sea monster that's roaming the seas so that they can go grab a boat, which is heavily connected to one of the characters' backstory. Now, that said character, Flint Strider, he's a ranger / corsair / swashbuckler. He really wants his boat back, obviously, so he's driving the group forward. Desna, who's the monk of the group, he is also a go-getter type, so he's driving the group forward as well. However, for this session, the 2 of them were absent for work reasons, and the 3 remaining players, well, they weren't nearly as driven. Now, the paladin of the group, she was still pushing them forward, but the group did get a little bit sidetracked by something completely random. I randomly decided to develop an NPC because I needed someone to tell the group where the Mayor's Arcanist is, because the Mayor's Arcanist, the mage type, was really important to this quest. So I needed an NPC, a random person, to just tell them, hey, he's gone missing, or something like that. and I came up with this little girl because they wanted to look for someone very nice, and then they rolled really high, so I was like, oh, who's nicer than a nice little girl selling flowers? So I came up with this random little girl to tell them, and they fell in love with her in an instant. This completely random girl. I didn't even have a name for her at the time. She ended up being named Charlotte. And I needed to come up with a backstory for her and her mom and some kind of quest hook, because they were clearly invested in this girl. So I was thinking on the fly. I was like, okay, she's selling flowers for money. All right, so that means she doesn't have a ton of money, but I already established she's wearing decent clothes, so she has some money. Well, so maybe single mom. Okay, what's her mom do? All right, this is a fishing town. Oh, last campaign, the party really liked crabs. They really want crabs, so maybe her mom's a crabber. Okay. So maybe I can establish some kind of backstory for the mom, but I'll keep it vague for now so I can come up with it later. And the quest hook. Oh, the quest hook. What do I do? Well, I just played Red Dead Redemption 2, and there's a quest where some kids take my money. How about some kids took some money from her, and oh, I have this spy master character. Maybe these kids can actually be informants for this massive spy master that'll come in later in the campaign. Alright, here we go. I came up with all that in like 2 minutes while I was also role-playing as the little girl. That was headache-inducing, but it was fun, and they ended up being very invested in this girl and her money plight. They ended up helping her mom, which led to them helping some gnolls, which led to them killing a wyvern, and by that point, the monk and the ranger players had come back, and they were supremely confused. The ranger player, the guy behind him, was really kind of annoyed, actually, because he was thinking, guys, wait, what the heck? You seriously got sidetracked by this? And then the player met Charlotte, thought she was the best thing ever. So I guess I did a great job there, completely by accident. Alright, that's where we're going to end today's episode of Q&Play. If you guys enjoyed this episode, then please do leave a like. If you want to see more videos from me, then please do hit subscribe. And finally, if you want to leave your own thoughts, go down to the comments down below. If you can't think of a comment, leave the comment North Star Online to let me know you made it to the end of the video. In essence, like, comment, subscribe. I will see you all next time. Farewell.